Hi guys, my name is Saul and we are here at the Vela Tiles Tile Design Studio I want to talk to you guys about something that I've been working on for the last several months, and that is introducing a VR experience into the tile selection process. I probably want to discuss right off the bat, why we decided to incorporate VR into the tile selection process. I think it's very beneficial. And let's start off with a few things about, why VR in general is important. I'll discuss three things that I see that, makes it very important to introduce VR into any retail experience, especially tile selection as well. So right off the bat, if you look at typically a tile store will need anywhere between 5 to 10,000 square feet for a medium-sized store. And if someone is looking to showcase their products in a space like that, you can think about the amount of energy cost, fossil fuels and all that kind of stuff. So if you're into being greener as far as that whole deal is concerned, it's not the most green efficient approach to it. And so what VR does, it helps create spaces at almost very little energy usage, and that allows basically consumers to look at products in that space without having such a large square footage with electricity. Let's not forget the rent and all other aspects of it. So we can, product prices and stuff can be much more reasonably priced, especially in today's world where everything's going up. The next case for VR that's quite important is to consider is typically when you go into a showroom, tiles are all over the place. I find if you're a designer or if you're someone who's looking, just customers who are looking to look for tile, you often have to go up and down the showroom to find what you're looking for. With a VR space, what we've done is we've categorized each space into a specific type of tile, so that allows you to, if you're looking for mosaic tiles, you're going to go into a space that is geared toward just mosaic tiles, and that allows you to kind of look at those particular tiles in that space without having to be distracted with all the other stuff that's around you. Some stores are better than this when they're displaying their products, but I think what happens is as products over time get introduced in any store, that causes this sort of disorganization to happen. So that's the beauty of VR, is that we can solve that problem by categorizing tiles in different spaces. And so if you're looking for marble tile looking tiles, you can go into that. And with tiles, that's the thing is there's so many categories. There is color, there's effects, there's texture, all these different things that these days people were looking for something very specific. They don't want to go and spend 2 hours in a showroom trying to find what they're looking for. So this saves the customer a lot of time as well, and designers as well, when they're coming in with their clients. So that's the other aspect of it. The other element that is quite important to consider is that sometimes proximity of the customer with relation to the store that has the product what they're looking for is not is quite long. So people have to drive sometimes an hour and a half just to get to the showroom. And so what VR does is it helps cut that in dramatically, so that customers can view these tiles at the comfort of their home, or in a centralized location where it's more closer to them. So this is very beneficial in more remote places where typically tile stores are not necessarily setting up shop because of the cost and overheads and all that kind of stuff. Most more popular stores are going to be located in major cities, and people have to come there. So what this does is that, again, it allows proximity to not be much of an issue, and allows people to view the products at a distance. So that's the other thing about makes VR really interesting. So these are some of the things that I thought I would highlight as far as what's important about VR, because there's a lot of mixed, opinions about, VR and how it's going to be useful in society. But I see it as very, very beneficial when it comes to tile selection. And that's what we've incorporated this into how I help customers select tile in our studio here. So let's get into what I wanted to do is get into the whole design process that we take a customer through, so you actually see how VR is incorporated in that, as well as the rest of the process. At Vela Tiles, what we do here is we take tile selection to a much more deeper approach. Most places where you go, they just have the tiles in display. You come in and you see if you like it, and then you purchase a tile and you go or you get samples. Here we take things to a much more deeper level by looking at the overall picture of the space in which you're putting the tiles in. So we're looking at things like the colors, the light reflection value of the space, what kind of materials you have in that space. And we actually have a lot of swatches here. So we're going to incorporate a lot of these things and look at the entire tile selection process, similar to if you were to selecting an outfit for a person who's going to, let's say, like a event. You want to look at the entire outfit as a whole, rather than just looking at the shoes or selecting shoes independently from the pants or the shirt and all that stuff. So that's why I'm going to walk you through. You're going to see what we do here, and then you're also going to see how VR kind of helps with that as well. So let's go ahead and see what we do here. Okay, so let's walk you through as if you're a customer just watching me. Right now I'm sitting exactly where a client would be sitting at. Got my headset here, got the Oculus 2, and that's the first place we're going to start, is going into the VR space and be able to select a tile from that space. Now, obviously the most important thing is touching the actual product, is not just visually just seeing it in VR space, but the whole point of going into this VR space is to first go into an area where specifically we're looking for. So in this particular example, we're going to look at marble effect tiles, but it can be anything. I'm going to take you also into the porcelain slabs as well, and let's look at some porcelain slabs as well. And the whole point right now is to kind of see all the options. And the beauty thing is that I'm sitting down. I'm not walking around up and down a showroom. I'm sitting down into a comfortable seat, and I'm going to put on the headset, and I'm going to look at all the options I have available to me as far as marble effect tiles is concerned. So let's go ahead, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so that was fun. Got to see some tile, and as a client right now, I've selected a couple of tiles. We got a Statrio tile here and a Dolomite looking like marble tile over here. So I've kind of narrowed my option down to these two tiles, and I'm thinking of which one I want to go with, but I'm not really sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some swatch samples from other types of material that I find in my space. And we're going to use that to kind of narrow down as to what's the perfect tile for that particular space. All right, so let's go ahead. Okay, so here we are, and we're going to look at some swatches here. So here I got a book full of paint color swatches from Benjamin Moore, and we have a lot of hardwood because I have some hardwood in my room. And we also have a countertop as well. And this is the countertop I have in my room. So when I'm looking at deciding which tile we want to go with, we are going to incorporate a lot of these things into this. So we want to kind of look at how these two different tiles look with respect to some of the things I got going on in that space. So I got the countertop on, sitting between the tiles. I got my hardwood. So in this particular space, I have, this particular color, let's say, okay, red oak, kind of a dark walnut color, very popular color. So we have that. And, as far as paint swatches is concerned, I already have painted my space, and the paint color that we have decided on is classic gray. So this is the color. And so when we put these particular swatches in place, we start to see things very interesting because this particular tile, I'll show you, is quite white, right, with respect to this tile. And what we want to do is we don't want something to pop too much into that space. So here, as you can see, this is sort of an off-white. So the paint color that I have in there is classic gray. So it's sort of like an off-white, light gray. And I think that'll look better with this tile versus this tile, especially when you stand back and look at that space. This particular tile is going into the floor, into the kitchen in this case. So you also look at, for instance, the countertop as well. The countertop has a very light gray veining, and which kind of matches this particular tile because this also has light gray veining in it. And also the color, the tone of the color as well. You can see it's not too bright, the white. It's still an off-white here as well with respect to this tile. So again, I'm leaning more towards this tile because of its light veining and also the fact that the white color that's on this tile matches this countertop as well. And also, when we look at the hardwood swatch that I had going on here, when I butt it up against this, because we are going to have the floor tile connect to the hardwood that's on the other side in the living room space. So when we put that beside it, we start to see that looks really nice. So the contrast looks really great as well. It's not too much, it's not too bright, and I really like it. So this is a kind of a quick way to, I kind of speed up the process here, but we usually spend about an hour selecting different tiles and looking at. There'll be way more samples here than what we see right here. The other thing is also grout color as well. We want to look at what grout color we're going to go with here. So here we have Frost. I think I would recommend Frost from the Hay would probably be a very good choice. We don't want something too white. Again, if we were selecting this tile, you would want to go with something much more brighter than this tile. So here you can see, just to show you, pretty good matching grout color as well. So these are the process. Now let's say none of these tiles are going to be very good into especially what we got going on. So we're going to go back into the VR space and look at some other options that might be available. And this way, usually what we do when we go into the VR space, we're going to select like somewhere between 5 to 6 different tiles. And we're going to record it, and we're going to take the samples in our showroom here, and we're going to lay it out, and we're going to basically narrow down the options and in order to select the perfect tile for that space. And we're going to do that for everything, for the backsplash, for the floor tiles, If it's a bathroom, the tile that's going in the niche. Speaking of bathrooms, there's a lot more things involved in the bathroom as well. We got vanities, we got shower jams, we got the type of fixtures, the metal of the fixtures. Is it going to be chrome? Is it going to be brushed nickel? Is it going to be black? All these things are very important when it comes to tile selection. So that's kind of an overview of what we do here and how we incorporated VR into it, whole thing. Again, the idea of the VR is to kind of cut back on the time that goes into selecting tile, because we get to look at everything that we're focused on. Particularly if you're looking for, like in this case, marble effect tiles, we're going to go into a space that has marble effect tiles, and we're going to see all our options, and then makes the whole process much more easier and less stressful for clients. All right, thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you here.